after opening the Pounamu Fountain around the corner there. I'd first like to say that one of the witnesses to that Pounamu and the sale of deed, when we actually signed it up way back in 1860, was a Mr. Mackley, who actually created the first farm here on the west coast up the Grey Valley. And he has got one of his great nephews here today, so welcome, it's good to see you here. Also, once again, I'd welcome Mary Tulloch, who is the oldest member of Ngāti Waiwai, and it's good to have you around here again. And also Ben Hukana, who is here representing Ngāti Waiwai as well. And to you, the public, welcome. This is a great occasion for us today. Way back in 1860, or going back further than that, in 1846, Thomas Brunner came down from Nelson as an explorer. He walked down the coast here, and he was the first European to set foot here at Mawhera, which is Greymouth. He actually was the same person that went up the river and discovered the Brunner coal mine. He found the coal up there. Then in 1863, Charles Townshend, on a ship called the Wild Wave, captained by Mr. Buxton, he came to actually check out Greymouth as well. But he missed the Grey River and he ended up at the Arahua River. So what they did was, there was a bit of a storm and he went ashore to check things out and they couldn't get back out to the ship. So the ship came along the coast here and then came up the Grey River. This is in 1863. And Townshend and the Captain Buxton, they walked up from Arahua. Now, when they got here, they set up a surveying place here in Greymouth, and then about a couple of months later, Townshend went down to get the whaleboat that had come onto the shore at Arahua, and bring it back up here. They found the whaleboat and then they brought it back up along the coast, him and two others, but he was the first drowning. As they come over the bar, Townshend, the original surveyor, he was drowned when the boat capsized. Then in 1864, Reuben Waite, who was seen as the founder of Greymouth, he brought 70 gold prospectors down from Nelson in the first steamer to come through the river here, called the steamer Nelson. He brought them in, and the prospectors, hearing of the big gold strike at Greenstone, which subsequently was the same place where Greenstone was discovered as well, which is at the back of the Great District here at the Turumacau River, sent the party of 70 gold prospectors down there. They got to the Turumacau River, and the Maoris of the time, who were already working the gold, they heard of him coming and shifted their camp to another spot. So the group of diggers, the 70, they found no gold because the Maoris actually took them to another place. They came back down, and a Dutchman heading this group, he decided they were going to hang Reuben Waite for leading them up the garden path. And so Reuben Waite, the founder of Greymouth, was nearly hung, and that's a true story. From there, Greymouth was settled. The great metropolis of Greymouth, as they called it in those days, the Crescent City, was created. And the river traffic that went right up through there, through the Grey District, right up to No Town, Hera, Moonlight, was quite legendary. There was a huge amount of people. People said in those days there was over 50,000 people living on the west coast, but that wasn't true. The peak gold rush population was only 28,000. So over the next 50 odd years, or 100 years, the whole west coast boomed. Coal fired the furnaces that industrialised New Zealand. At one stage, the Brunner mine supplied 1/3 of all the coal that was actually used in the Dominion of New Zealand. Then they discovered the timber. Our timber built the nation, and Greymouth and the whole of Westland went from strength to strength. Then during the 1960s, coming back 100 years now, over the last 50 years, West Coast hit hard times, and during those hard times, the coal productivity rate dropped, so coal mining started closing down. The government saw that our seemingly endless supply of native timber was running out, so they started closing down our timber mills. At that same point in the 1980s, the government restructured government departments, and as we would know, and you were all part of it, the Ministry of Works, the Forestry, the Railways, they all went by and by. Our greatest export then was our people. We then, as West Coasters, and you were part of this, through 35 years went through really hard times. Land prices dropped away to nothing. Our kids had to leave to get jobs. and if you wanted to sell a house here, you waited at least 2 years just to sell it. So it was tough times. So you, the people of Westland, the people of Greymouth, can be proud. You endured that time. You were still part of that time. You're here today. You saw 7 years ago the turnaround when the whole of the country picked up, but West Coast picked up with it. And this time round, our recession, even that we had over the last 2 years, wasn't even a recession. We went right through this for the first time in history. We've picked up, underpinning our economy, forestry, the mining is back, and tourism grows from strength to strength. Today we're really sustainable. We can be proud of what we've created, and you are the people of the West Coast that can be proud of this rugged beauty from the West Coast to the Southern Alps, down from the mountains to the sea that has been created. Our environment is second to nobody on the West Coast here. We have cleaned up our backyard and we can be proud of that. We live in a fantastic place. So I would just like to first now thank Ian Bostridge for this wonderful thing we're about to unveil. Ian is a sculptor here. He has dedicated his whole life to sculpting Pounamu. And what you're about to see has been donated by Ian and Kay to the Greymouth community in perpetuity, and it's very, very valuable. So it depicts, as Ian would like me to tell you, it depicts the mountains coming down to the sea and the abundant rainforest we have, and our rainfall just sums the whole beauty of the West Coast up. So finally, I would like to call Ian across to help me unveil this, and I would like to thank everybody for staying here on the West Coast. This is your place. Let's celebrate it. Let's put the billy on. Thank you.